This is Danny Woodhead, and you're plugged in with Jay.
Yo, what's good? It's your homeboy T-Pain. Right now, at this very exact moment, you plugged in with Jay.
You plugged in with Jay right now. This is Jay Nash.
Turn up, turn up, turn up.
My boy Jay Parrish.
You're listening to my boy Jay the Plug.
My boy Jay the Plug.
And you're listening to my boy Jay the Plug.
You're listening to my boy Jay the Plug.
You're listening to my boy Jay the Plug.
Jay the Plug.
Wish you guys many monies from any moon. You're listening to my boy Jay the Plug.
Get plugged up, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining another episode of Plugged In with Jay. I am here with a pretty fantastic, awesome guy, great guest, Danny Woodhead. How are you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing good. I've been you've been trying to get me on. I said I'd do it, and it's almost like my 4 kids in my retirement schedule. You think I'd be having like lunch at 10:30 and dinner at 4:30 and everything else should be open. Right. Weirdly, it's not quite like that.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I was going to say, I bet with the retirement and everything, having so many kids, I'm sure your schedule is a little bit more hectic than it was before. At least you had some, some structure with your. I have
no structure now. We have structure as far as when to pick up the kids, when activities are, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, it's a little mumble jumbled. I work out in the mornings. That's structured because I have to have something.
Right.
Other than that, it's hard for me to commit just because the last thing I want to do is say I can do it and then not be able to. Yeah. I can't do that.
No, I understand, man. It's been crazy. Like I've got a schedule where it's nuts, where I'm working probably 12 hours a day.
Oh man.
And then I have an hour and a half commute both ways. So
oh, dang.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, trying to schedule anything on a Tuesday is perfect because it's my only day off I have of the week. So I appreciate you very much, man.
Hey, no problem.
So talking about family life, what was it like growing up Woodhead?
Man, growing up Woodhead was, my dad was a teacher. We had no money. My mom, I was homeschooled. We had 4 kids. We had no money at all. Like we never went without. But we just didn't have any money. Anyone that has kind of followed me and maybe followed me on social media, I'm a very faith-based person. And so God was faithful. We never went without food, never went without being able to have basketball shoes growing up or soccer cleats or ended up obviously football cleats. So I was super blessed though. I grew up with 2 parents that were unbelievably unconditional loving. And I feel like more than anything, who cares about the money? Who cares about the whatever? But I was loved and I knew it. And shoot, I could not have had a better childhood.
That's awesome, man. That sounds a lot like my childhood as well. My parents were loving. They're still married to this day. They've been married for 51 years now.
That's freaking awesome, isn't it? Anymore, it's just,
it's unheard of.
It is all, and that's amazing. And I think the biggest thing, and you'll see it with parents anyways, is, even as I'm getting into, my oldest is almost 10, and just sports and whatever, and so much pressure on the kids, and it's like, wait a second. It's like your kid. If they suck at basketball, who cares? And that's how it is. It's I just want them to know that they're loved. With my 4 kids, I could care less how successful they are at things. I want them to be successful. I want them to learn. As long as they give it their all. That's my biggest thing that I'm preaching is hey, just do your best at it. And then, you might be good at it. Fortunately for my kids, I'm thankful for them, not for myself, but they're very athletic kids, so they're going to be okay if they want to play sports. But man, I want them to be kids, and I want them to know that mom and dad loves them.
That's perfect, man. Dad, seriously, man, that's dad of the year stuff. That's great.
Well, I'm trying. I don't know where I'm at on the rankings, but I'm trying to move up every day.
Now you talk about And hearing you, and man, I can't stress this enough. I don't mean to chime on it, but I mean, hearing you talk about family and the way that you talk about your kids, it's really refreshing, man. I got to say, it's awesome. I love it.
I appreciate that.
That's huge. I know that's more important than any accolade you could ever had in football or anything. So
Yeah.
my hat is literally off, sir. Like that's fantastic. It's awesome. So something that kind of chimes into that, or kind of leads into that. You started dating your wife in high school. Y'all were high school sweethearts.
Yeah,
man. What is the secret,
bro? I don't know what the secret is. I think we dated as freshmen in high school. Right after homecoming dance, went to homecoming dance. Then I thought it was like, hey, let's make it official, right?
Right.
And we both obviously were into each other, but then we went to school 8 hours apart in college.
Oh.
And it was just one of those things. I think looking back, if she would have went to Shadron with me, I don't know how well it would have worked out because I was so busy with football.
Sure.
That like how was that going to work out? And I think it really made us figure things out relationally. I think a lot of times in relationships, communication is lacking. And it forced us to communicate, and it forced us to be real with each other and kind of let each other know what's going on with each other's day.
Sure.
Because even now, even when people are married, I think they have a tough time just talking. And because of those 4 years of college where we were apart, I think we had to learn. Otherwise, we're going to break up, right?
Sure.
So
yeah.
I think it was actually more valuable than the 4 years before in high school.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it also gave you enough time to, work on and concentrate on football and studying and stuff like that.
It did, because regardless, I was going to be playing and I was going to be focusing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if she was in the same town, she was probably going to be like, man, I'm forgotten. And it's like, you're not forgotten. It's just like, I have football, and it worked out perfect because she went to nursing school. So she was busy too.
Sure.
So just it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, that way, you don't have to worry about neglect or anything like that. She's so busy. You're so busy. If y'all were put in the same predicament, one or the other could end up having resentment because you're not around each other that much.
Exactly. So I think
perfect.
In some ways it was a blessing that we went. Sucked that it was that far.
Yeah.
But if it could have been like 3-4 hours where you can just drive up and spend a day or two.
Yeah.
Great. Where we did that, but it was just like, it was a lot harder.
Yeah. I can imagine. That's awesome, man. I mean, that's great the way that things work out like that, man. You say you're faith driven. I mean, it's, God definitely puts you guys in the predicament, in the position to make things work out. Obviously it's for the best. How long have y'all been married?
We've been married. It'll be 13 years this year. It'll be 21 that we've been together. So it's crazy. When people, I don't know if they joke or say like that person, God made that person for me. Mm-hmm. I 1000% believe that. Like, she allows me to be me. I'm very driven. I love playing golf now that I'm retired, because I have that competition, like the competitive juices.
Sure.
So now I compete in things, and it's one of those things where it's kind of known, not every day, but about 4 times a week, like I'm going to be gone and I'm going to play golf. And it's something that has kind of been like medicine for me, being out of the NFL. So like, she understands. Now it doesn't mean I can just be an idiot about it, but but she understands how I tick.
Sure. Yeah, man. That's excellent. That's awesome to hear. I love hearing, especially whenever, like, I know it's really tough for NFL players, NBA players, any pro athletes to have like a relationship that's so solid. It's great to hear, man. I love that. So whenever the draft was going on in 2008, you went undrafted.
Yeah.
It seems like more and more nowadays, like these undrafted guys are coming out and just blowing up. Like you had guys like, Philip Lindsay and Austin Eckler, somebody, a Charger. It's pretty incredible. What was your thought process during your draft? Like, were you sitting there waiting to be drafted? Did you figure, yeah, this is going to happen? Absolutely. I will be drafted eventually.
I was kind of being realistic about it, because at the time there weren't a lot of small running backs. Sproulsy was kind of becoming Sproles.
Right.
But outside of that, there wasn't a lot going on with like smaller receiving back, scat back, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's more of a change of pace. It's just a running back, and it just has different skill sets. So I don't want to say I didn't think I was going to get drafted, but I was realistic as far as like, they didn't want me at the combine. I was a small white running back from a Division II school. So I was like, I understood, right?
Stacked. Yeah. It was stacked.
Yeah. The odds weren't like the greatest. I had a very productive pro day. And there were scouts there because it was at the University of Nebraska. But it was just one of those things too. I think it was too close. My pro day was too far away from the draft. If the Nebraska's pro day would have been closer, maybe there is a chance.
Yeah.
But I knew the odds, or I knew that things were kind of stacked against me. And I was realistic about it. I had an agent who's unbelievable, Chris Giddings from One West Sports. And he
shout out.
Yeah, exactly. And he was realistic with me. That was the only reason I went with him. I mean, I liked his personality and stuff, but like, he was honest with me. He goes, bro, I'm not going to get you drafted. He goes, if you get drafted, it's because you got you drafted. And when I talked to him, I was like, that's the guy I'm going with, because he's not going to lie to me. He's not going to make stuff up. And too many agents nowadays, it's like, oh, you're going to go in the first round. And then it's like, yeah, you need to come out of you're a junior. I know you had a great year. I guarantee you're going to be a second, third round pick. And then they go on draft, and it's like, you have all these kids with their hearts just broken. And it's like, you need someone that was realistic. Well, he was realistic with me. So I just wanted the opportunity to get into a camp and, hopefully I could show off the abilities God gave me. And then hopefully those abilities would wow someone, and end up having a great off season in New York, and then tearing my ACL in like the second week of training camp. And it was a tough deal.
Yeah, man. That's great that you had an agent like that, though. I mean, somebody who's honest with you, and you guys just clicked.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. And he's still working. And it's funny, he actually ended up hiring a couple of other players that he's Zach Zinner and Jeremiah Searles, and they're buddies. They're both buddies of mine. So now they're kind of working with him, and they're the same. They're cut from the same cloth. They're just not going to lie. It's like, hey, you get what you see. We're not going to. The funny thing is too, you have all these agents that are like, hey, I can promise you this, this, and this. And then after you get drafted, or when you're in the league, there's a bill that's coming, and it's like,
right,
that was all free. Oh, no. I mean, yeah, they're going to pay for your freaking workouts, right. But man, a lot of people get blindsided. And it's like, hey, that stuff happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah, man. That's so you've been on a couple teams with the Jets, the Patriots, of course, the Chargers. Was there a specific team that you really enjoyed playing for, like more than the other? I know it's kind of a weird question, kind of hard.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of tough. It's a tough one to. I mean, obviously we won in New England. I'll kind of break it up. New England, I loved because it was the first time I got a shot.
Yeah.
San Diego, I felt like it was. I don't want to say more. I was more known, but I felt more respected in the league, and I think it was one of those things where they just kind of let me loose. In San Diego. Great O coordinator, and Ken Wisenhunt, unbelievable O coordinator. And the thing is too, once I left the New England bubble, it was like I was kind of allowed to have my own personality. It's nothing against New England. I think if I would have went there in year 6, I would have been like comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? Or even if I would have went there later on in my career, it's just at the stage that I went to New England, I was just trying to make the team, man. Like I was doing anything I could to not get fired, right, and to make the New York Jets look like idiots for cutting me. Like that's what, that was my whole goal.
Yeah.
So like once I was in San Diego, I felt like people saw Danny more, because I don't feel like they saw Danny in New England. Like I think they liked me, and I still have good relationships with people there, but I don't think they knew the full me as far as my personality, my fun-loving, joking. Some of the players did, but the coaching staff didn't. That's the one thing I don't want to say I regret, because that was the time of career I was in.
Sure.
But once I was in San Diego, it's just like, I was like, who cares? You know, like,
yeah, I get it.
Like I'm gonna answer questions honestly now. I'm gonna be myself. And if you don't like me, that's okay. Like, not everyone's gonna like me. And I think so there's two different times. So I loved playing in New England, but I loved the freedom that I had once I was in San Diego. And I don't think the freedom was all because of the structure in New England. I think it was because of the place I was at in my career.
Sure. Understood. Yeah, man. You start feeling more like yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting to represent yourself the way that you really want to. I get, like, I can imagine, like, this whole thing coming out with Tom Brady saying that Jules didn't retire. Right. He just was afraid to tell Belichick that he wanted to come down to Tampa. I mean, is it kind of like that? Was Belichick that intimidating?
Yeah. I mean, he was intimidating. I think he really cared about people. But he cared about the organization first, because that's his job.
Sure. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when I left in free agency, I think they were just like, oh, he's going to come back here. He loves it here. Not that I'd be afraid, but it's like, hey guys, I've already been fired twice. I'm not afraid to leave here. I'm not. And I think they expected me to just come crawling back. And the truth is, going into free agency, I wanted to leave. I didn't want to stay in New England. And it's funny, I was literally probably 30 minutes or less to signing back with New England. I told you I was a faith-based person. It came to this day, we didn't have any offers. My wife and I said, hey, let's just pray about this morning. And if nothing happens by noon, then we're just going to sign back in New England. And it came to a point where I was mad at New England. I was pissed. I wanted nothing to do with going back there. And that morning, through like just praying about it and whatever, I felt like my heart was kind of like changed, and I wasn't mad anymore. And I really felt like I had to get to that point in order to leave, so I didn't leave on a bad note. And and it's funny, because I called my agent. I said, I'm ready to go back to New England. I didn't want to, but I just had I'm okay with it. And he goes, are you sure? And I go, yeah, I am. I go, I think it's what I'm supposed to do. And literally, as we were talking about it, he goes, just 1 second, San Diego's calling. And when he told me San Diego was calling, I all but knew that I was signing with the Chargers, and I hadn't even heard a conversation or whatever. I think it was just like not to sound weird, but like a posturing of my heart and not being like angry anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just like, because during the whole time I had been praying, like, God, I don't want to play there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like I had to be released by like not being angry at the Patriots. And since I haven't been angry since. So
sure. Yeah. That's awesome.
Now actually I follow them, and they're probably one of my favorite teams.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's kind of odd.
Well, it's like that clarity that God gives you whenever you're praying about something, all of a sudden it just clicks. That's a great thing to have.
Yes. That's exactly what it was. And it was like a freedom to move on. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm deucing. I'm going to San Diego, California.
So you were saying that the Patriots kind of pissed you off. What was it? Was it just the way that they were handling things? Was it just?
Well, it was one of those things. I felt like during the year, I had a really good year, and it was a contract year. And I felt like there was reasons I wasn't playing as much to kind of, diminish my value or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't like, I understand it. I get the whole business side. And it wasn't like one thing, but yeah, it annoyed me. And I'm a human being, and I really had a lot of good friends. I still respected like the organization, but I was like, how do I want to put it? Like, I don't want to say I'm not someone you should cross, because that's like not. But like, if you're it's noticeable that you're not allowing me to move up, then that bothers me.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's just human. It's like, well, I'm going to go somewhere that wants me to do well and wants me to continue to move up.
That's going to appreciate you.
Yes. And I just didn't feel as appreciated. And I think that because I think a lot, like when it comes to like business stuff, whatever it is, like I'm trying to read people, or not read people, but I'm trying to see the intentions. And it's like, it was very clear to me, and I wasn't the first one to do it, to leave, but I was like, no, like I don't feel appreciated.
Yeah.
And I just want to be at a place that maybe appreciates me more. And if you're trying to drive my price down for free agency, I'm going to go somewhere. I'll play for the same exact amount somewhere else. I'm just not, it's off of principle more than anything.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I was like, if someone else offers me the same exact offer, I'm gone.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense.
So that's why I don't want to say I was pissed, but I was definitely I was rubbed the wrong way. And I believed that my talents transferred anywhere.
Right.
Or translated anywhere, because the stigma in New England is, a lot of Patriots guys, they're just a plug and play. If they go somewhere else, they're not going to be very good. And it's like, I don't believe that bull crap. Yeah, maybe it's happened to some people, but like, I don't believe that. Yes. So I'm willing to do whatever. I've been fired already. So like, if I go somewhere and get fired again, I don't really care.
I was looking for a job when I found this one. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. So, and fortunately, it was to a place that knew how to use me. I go to Sandiego. Ken Wisenhunt, Frank Reich ended up being a coordinator also, but like, it was a time where I felt like they used me and used me well, and end up having easily two of the best years of my career.
That's great, man. Yeah, I loved it whenever you were in San Diego, man. I'm a big fantasy football fan.
Oh, awesome.
That's how I started all this. Like I was a fantasy football yeah. Started off as a fantasy football plug podcast. I got furloughed from work. My wife gave me the push, and I met Marcus Allen. He asked me if I wanted to interview him. I was like,
sure, Marcus.
Sure, Mr. Marcus Allen. And then it took off, and I just fell in love with interviewing players and getting to know y'all on a different level. And it's just been a huge blessing, like huge blessing.
That's so sick.
Yeah, God put me in a very good spot to do that. And I consider it a good spot, just like as you can, faith wise. So like, it's like, I have faith that he was going to put me somewhere that would make me really happy. And this is something that I've just fallen in love with. I still work besides this, crazy hours, but maybe one day. But
for sure.
So when you went to the Chargers, I always made sure to get you on my team because I'm always PPR based.
Let's go.
Yeah,
PPR is the only way to play, by the way.
Seriously, if you're not playing PPR, you need to check your life.
Yeah, like don't play. Like just quit. It's just one of those things you have to. The game is a passing league. I don't want to play some boring standard league.
Seriously, man. Do you play fantasy football?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I it's funny. I'll go and I'll play people based off of now it's different. I go off of who's the D coordinator is. If there's a guy, if there's my number one receiver and they're playing and he's playing against New England, he's not going to get any catches. He's going to maybe get 3 catches, maybe. So like, it's funny because I go off of like a little bit more of a general manager mindset.
I love it
because of just I still have relationships with a lot of coaches in the league, and it's like, probably not going to have a lot of catches, or it's like certain offenses like Sirianni and Philly or Frank and Indy or wherever Wiz was. I know who they're going to go to. I know because of the offense and how it's set up. I know certain receivers that they're going to get catches.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny when you look at it that way. Or it's like if you're playing Seattle or you're playing a Seattle type defense wherever Quinn's at. So in Dallas, I'm probably going to play a running. If he can catch the ball, I'm going to play a running back or even like a tight end, because they sit back in their cover 3 and it's basically a bend don't break. Like they're going to get the ball all game. Or like Sandiego when Shane Steichen was there. Like, Eckler's getting the ball out of the backfield. Like he is. So like play him.
Dude, this is
so like I think of it like that.
I love it, man. How many leagues are you in?
So last year I was just in 2.
Uh-huh.
I get to the point though, like if it gets too many, like it's hard for me, because then I'm like, but do I want to cheer for him? Because actually he's playing me in the other league. And so like it's hard for me to do that.
I love it.
But I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
A lot of fun.
Well, let me ask you a question. If the answer is no, I'll just edit this out. We started a thing called the Pace League. My friend Justin and I, he's got a question for you. He's a huge fan. It's a league for charity.
Yeah.
We've got guys like Darren Waller. T-Pain is in it, which he's ridiculous.
Well, hey, by the way, Waller's the best. An unbelievable story. Oh my gosh.
Incredible story.
I was with him in Baltimore for a year. Unbelievable. I love it.
That's right. Yeah. He's a great guy, man. He's come over for dinner. Like he's just, and I don't even look at him as a football player, except
he's just an awesome dude.
Huge, but
yeah,
but just a great person. And he's in the league. Like I said, T-Pain, who is he says he's going to go Mortal Kombat on everybody and just press buttons. So I'm like, I don't think you really understand what's happening.
Right.
Young Cash, Hugh Jackson, a number of people. And we're playing for charities. Everybody has a foundation.
Cool.
Mine's the Austin Eckler Foundation.
Yep.
Darren Waller's, of course, Darren Waller Foundation. Hugh Jackson Foundation.
Right.
So on American Cancer Society, all those. And it's basically a celebrity-based league. Well, we've got a spot.
Yeah.
You want it.
Yeah, let's do it. That'll be fun. Yeah, let's do it. Let's plan on it.
Man. All right, then I'll let you know. I'll let you know here pretty soon where your draft spot is. Our draft is going to be late August. And yeah, man, that's great.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Welcome to the Pace League, my man.
Hey,
all
thanks,
right.
bro. I'm excited.
Let's go. So, that being said, who you drafting first? Who you going for first? It'll be, let's see, because we did the draft order and we did it for, seeing who's going to be coming in and who's going to be playing. So I'll figure out exactly where your draft spot is, but
I'll see. I mean, obviously you got to have me personally, and it's not because of the position I played.
Right.
You got to have a back that they know is going to be number one. Like he's a clear-cut number one. He's not like, because in the league, you've seen it. There's 2-3 back systems.
100%.
Like I'm not taking a New England running back first, or ever hardly, because you never know when they're going to get their reps. Like I never knew going into a week. I thought I wouldn't be playing, and next thing you know, I have 5 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown or 2. It's like I didn't think I was going to play that much that week.
Right.
So like not them. It would have to be now. Obviously not Le'Veon Bell, but like that type when he was in Pittsburgh. He's going to get catches. He's going to get 5 catches a game, and he's getting the rock at least 15 to 20 times on the ground. And when he's down he's in the red area, he's going to be on the field, because there's some like first, second down backs that won't be playing much in the red area unless it's like goal line, because there's red area backs. So like you have to, I'd probably go with like, obviously not because he's been hurt, but like the Saquon Barkley guys that can just kind of do anything.
Right.
Eckler's an unreal pick, by the way. I don't know how it's going to work though with the new offensive coordinator. Lombardi's great, but I don't know if he was with Shane Steichen or if he was with the Sirianni, the Frank Reichs of the world, or Wisenhunt, I'd take him yesterday, because he's going to score a ton of points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So like those are the type of guys I'd love. If he was in the same system, I'd take Keenan Allen yesterday. He's getting the ball.
Oh man. Yeah. Herbert loves him, man. Herbert loves him some Keenan Allen.
Like those are the type of guys I'm getting. I'm getting guys that have touches. I've taken quarterbacks too. It just kind of depends on because like think about it, like Lamar Jackson, what he does, or Kyler Murray, who in that offense, he's throwing it 1,000 times a game.
Seriously.
So yeah. I don't know. I'll have to. I mean, I will research.
I love it. I love it, man. And I
will research, and I'll research the new coaching staffs, because it's like, oh, who's the coordinator? I need another coordinator. Otherwise, it's like, why? Great pick. I really believe. I think Matt Stafford's going to be a fire pick.
I agree.
Bro, I nothing against Jared Goff, but Matt Stafford is way better.
I agree. Very much so. I really do. And Cam Akers, because of Matt Stafford being there, is going to be a back who's going to be catching a lot of dingers.
And he can catch the ball.
So I think he can.
I think he can too. There's backs that I will veer away from because I'm like, their hands are terrible. I'm not like Derrick Henry is one guy where his hands aren't great that I'd take, because he's going to score touchdowns.
Well, yeah. 370 plus touches in a game. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
And the thing is, I just don't know about their offensive line this year, because their offensive line have been dogs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think of everything like that, because as a running back too, even guys that have been like unreal, you look and it's like, oh, they lost linemen. It's like, ooh. Or they go to a new team and you're like, but it has a trash O-line. O-lines make or break running backs.
Yep.
Like, and you look at Le'Veon Bell. I mean, did he sit out a year? Sure. But he went from Pittsburgh, where they just are mauling people, to the Jets, where, I mean, I don't know where you run, especially with his running style. So like, there's a lot of things that you just got to look at.
Anywhere Adam Gase goes, I don't trust
that would be a rough.
Has all the skill in the world, but I won't touch him.
Exactly. And you have to have. I don't think people always realize it. You have to have a savage tight end that's in a savage offense that throws to the tight end. Like me, I'm going to look at the Colts and the Eagles tight ends.
Yeah.
Because I know in those offenses, I played in them, they throw the tight end all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Or in a New England offense, they throw to the tight ends.
Mm-hmm. And now they got your boy Hunter Henry. He's in New England, and then they got Jonnu Smith as well. I think he's trying to emulate a Gronk and Hernandez deal.
Yeah, he's trying to go back to 12 personnel, and because there's so many mismatches, and then it's dumb if you have James White on the field with a 12 personnel on third down.
Right.
I don't know a lot about Jonnu, but he's obviously a good player, because I just didn't watch a ton of the Titans stuff.
Right.
But if you have that on third down, like, what personnel are you playing? If it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, are you playing a substitute personnel, or are you playing base? Well, if you play base, you're dead, because Hunter Henry's going to beat anyone. And if James White's on the field, but then the thing is, it's like, you're going nickel or dime. Well, then we're going to run on you on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
So it's just like I think it's, if it works out, it's creating a monster in New England. Even like, say it's Cam Newton as the quarterback, and I know he's had a couple, like, because he's probably going to start unless Mac just has a crazy offseason.
Yeah.
He actually has people to distribute the ball to. Last year, he was playing with a bunch of high school players.
Right.
Like, that's so, like, disrespectful. I don't mean it like that, but I'm just saying, like, in comparison, they weren't guys. They didn't have any guys.
Right. They had no. They had
James
to go off. Yeah, they had nothing showing that they could do it.
They had James White, and it's like, well, you can easily just chip a back or blitz over the back, and you can kind of eliminate a back. Like, the thing that was so key in my career is, obviously you need to have some good receivers, whatever, but like, having a great tight end is huge.
Yeah.
Because what we would do in San Diego, and even some in New England, it was like Gronk and I on the same side, or Gatesy and I on the same side. And then you have trips on the other side, and it's just like terrible, because you have to declare man or zone right away. You have to say, is it man? Is it zone? And then, so as us, if you're a good player, I'm not saying I'm a good player, I'm just saying, like, you look and you see, oh, there's zone or in this man. It's like, oh, if it's man, I got a linebacker on me.
dust him.
And if I don't have a linebacker and it's on Gatesy, he's gonna kill him. And a safety still is a mismatch for Gates or myself. I felt like. So it's like, if you have someone like that, you can do good things. New England now has talent everywhere.
Yeah.
And think about this. They signed Matthew Judon, who's a savage on defense. They get Hightower back because they had people sitting out last year. I mean, they're loaded.
Yeah.
So it'll be
they're going to be scary for sure. Man, this is awesome, man. I haven't really gone into depth like this with a actual like a player.
Bro, so this is the one thing. Not a lot of people and not a lot of guys like to talk ball. Like, they don't like to. I cut from probably a different mold than most running backs. My dad was a coach. One of my best friends was Phillip Rivers. I wanted to know everything because that's how I played, is because I got elevated I was on practice squad, got elevated as a receiver because I knew what to do at receiver too, just knew the playbook. So I really enjoyed the intricacies because everyone has a lot of talent at the NFL. What separates is people that know stuff, unless you're just like a freak show. Like, what separates is if you know what to do, if you can recognize coverages, if you can recognize just man zone, you don't even need to recognize coverages.
Sure.
Or just like small things. Like me, I always out of shotgun, I always lined up in the same exact spot every single time. Even though a running back out of shotgun either straddles the outside leg of the tackle, that's a cheat alignment, or base, which is just over the tackle, or you go inside leg of the tackle. Well, I felt like that's stupid because then they're going to know on certain plays I'm going to cheat, certain plays I'm going to base, certain plays I'm closer to the quarterback. How about I just do cheat every single time? Because then they have no idea what's coming.
Sure.
So the intricacies like that, I don't care if I'm closer to the quarterback, I have a better relationship for a handoff. No, I'll get to that same relationship right after the snap.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like intricacies like that, or knowing where the blitz is coming from, where we should move the protection. I like to know that and that helped being with Phillip. So man, I love talking ball because I feel like there's a lot of coaches that don't even. Not that I'm a great coach. I'm not saying that. But I feel like sometimes it's like, I was at a place, I'm not going to name the place, where I was like, yeah, so why don't we do this? And they were like, well, yeah, that's hard to see. And it's like, well, I mean, if I can see that, don't you think the quarterback could?
Yeah.
So there's even coaches that I don't even think are looking at certain things. It's like, maybe let's make it easier. Let's watch film and recognize that the blitz comes there. And if we move the protection, you don't need the back end. Not because I need to get out in the route, but if they're playing blitz zone, well, I'll take up a part of the zone, which makes it easier for the X receiver to run his in cut. So there's just a lot of stuff like that I love to talk about. So that's just what you get with me.
Have you ever thought about going into coaching?
Never. I love coaching. I love coaching. That's what I went to school for, was to be a teacher and a coach, and then maybe coach college. And then I realized it would be hard to have a family life. That was really why I said no to it. Because even one of my coaches in New England was like, "Oh, you're not going into coaching?" It's like, no, I see what you do. I see you guys get there at 5, leave at 1. I don't want to sleep for 3 hours and then not know my kids' names and do all that stuff. I just don't have any interest in it. Do I love the game? Yeah. I maybe someday I'll do offensive coordinator at a high school where I decide when I do stuff.
Sure.
But there's so much less that goes into that, and that's what I would want.
Right. Yeah. Do it at your kid's school or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't, man. I love ball. I love talking ball. I love talking ball and stuff like this.
Yeah.
People have even said, have you thought about being an analyst? And it's like, not really. I mean, I love talking it. If I can do the analysis at my house on a Zoom, for sure. Yeah, whatever. I'll do that. I don't want to fly somewhere. I'm a homebody, man. I just want to stay at home, be with my family.
Sure. Yeah, I totally get that, man. I respect that. I like that a lot. That's cool. Family, man. That's number one. That's number one above everything.
For sure.
So you've talked about a podcast before. What tell me about your podcast.
Yeah. So it's Out of Nowhere. It's you can find it on any platform. Go look it up, at OON pod on Instagram, Twitter, whatever the heck those social medias, right? Yeah. But it's with Matt Slauson, a former 10-year vet too. Mm-hmm. I played with him at Sandiego, played with him in New York. He started, I don't even know how many games, a stupid amount. Great player. And we're tight. We're like best friends. And he's in outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm in Omaha, so it's not far. And it gives us an excuse to just hang out. It really does. It's like, that's kind of how it started. Like, we had fun. We love talking ball. We love talking stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started. And the name Out of Nowhere is kind of because I came out of nowhere as far as like a small school, didn't get drafted, didn't go to Division I, in Nebraska. So the whole basis of like coming out of nowhere, and not that I've arrived, but I was able to play 10 years in the NFL, and Slauson was kind of the same deal. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where it's been. And then we also have guests on. We haven't as of late, because we've just kind of been doing whatever we want. But we'll have guests on, and we kind of we have them share their story. And I don't care if your dad's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Tom Brady. Everyone's story is out of nowhere, because you start as a baby and then you're just kind of growing up, and you have to kind of do your own thing. Yeah. So everyone's story comes out of nowhere, and then we just kind of talk about that. And then really, let's just be real with you. Some of our conversations out of nowhere, like, we don't even know why we're talking about it. We get done and we're like, did we really just talk about that? And man, it's just a fun loving deal. We love talking ball. And then we love talking about whatever the heck's going on in our lives.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's awesome content. I love that type of stuff as well. My questions normally start off with how you've grown up, who you are as a person. Yeah. I love talking about the family stuff. That's awesome. Not a lot of people there could be a lot of people that don't know that about you.
Well, because they don't share. Like, if you do a normal interview, if you go on a normal interview, that's not what they're going to talk about.
Right.
They're going to talk about your stats. They're going to talk about, and I will talk about stats, like, if that's what they want to talk about, but like, that's not what I enjoy.
Right.
I enjoy talking about the relationships that I have in my life. Stems obviously from my family, but even like in the league, like, I like talking about the relationships that I built. Mm-hmm. Because when it's all said and done, people always say this to me. They're, hey, do you play you have a ring? No. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, why are you sorry? Like, I don't care. Like, when I'm 55 years old and people are talking about the NFL, I'm not talking about a game, a catch, a touchdown. I'm never going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about like my buddies that I had and the stupid pranks and jokes and that. That's what I'm going to talk about, because that's what matters in the end. The money doesn't matter. The fame doesn't matter. How many yards or touchdowns, it doesn't matter unless you're just the most selfish person in the world and like it's only about you. Then maybe it does. But it's the relationships that I built. If someone say you're interviewing not Matt, because he's one of my best friends, but if you're interviewing a guy that I play, let's just say Eddie Royal. If you said, hey, what was Woodhead like? I hope he doesn't say anything about my football abilities. I mean, I hope that he thought I was a good player, but I hope he was like, Woodhead was a good dude. He was kind of funny. He was kind of ridiculous, but I really liked him. That's what I care about. I don't care about, man, I remember in Denver, he had this one catch on the 35-yard. No, that's stupid. No one's going to talk about that.
Right.
So hopefully the relationships I built and the trust that I have in those relationships, hopefully that's what would be talked about.
That's what counts, man. It really does. I've I did an interview yesterday with Ruben Randall. It was one of those deals where it just kind of had to pop up and just do it right away.
Yeah.
And David Wilson. And when I talked to them about Eli Manning being a prankster, or what was it like, so that's what they talk about. They talked about how good a guy he was, how funny he was, how goofy he was, and that he would just try and prank everybody. And I love that, because that's him as a person, not a football player. And I understand that football, that was your livelihood and everything, but that's not you as a person. That's you as a skill set. That's you as an amazing athlete, but that's not who you are. And that's, what you just said is exactly what I try to bring to the show as much as I can, is by asking the right questions. Sure, we'll dabble in some football stuff, some fantasy football stuff.
You have to, because fans want to hear that stuff too. And I still like talking about certain things.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's like my life. That's not who I am.
Right.
And I hope it's never, hopefully anyone that's met me doesn't think that.
Yeah. That's a testament to the way you were raised, man, and the person you are. Because I feel the same way. Not saying I'm anything incredible or whatever, but like my parents, like whenever they talk about Jay when I'm gone, the same as me, I want them to be like, man, that guy really, he was a good person.
Yeah.
That's what matters most, is if it's relationships and the life that you build with those relationships and you as a person. It has nothing to do with what you've done. Anytime anybody's on a deathbed, if they ask them a question, what do you wish for your life? They're like, I wish I'd have had more time, more relationships. I wish I'd have taken more time with my family. It has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with, accolades as far as, winning a Super Bowl ring or anything. That, just like what you were saying, is like, it would be in a box gathering dust. It's not like you wear it every day, a ring.
Right. Bro, like I'm looking at some of the stuff, because I'm just downstairs in my bar area, and like I have some helmets up, but like it's not anything special. Like they're not even up. Like they're just like stashed somewhere.
Sure.
Like my kids kind of think it's cool, but it's kind of like, whatever, Dad. Like, yeah, you played in the NFL, move on. Right.
Right. They care more about what you're doing. Like if you're going outside to play with them, throw the ball with them and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't care if their dad played 10 years in the NFL. Not at all.
Don't pass and went yard for it. Great. Good for you. Awesome.
Yeah. Way to go, Dad. Can you color with me over here?
Right. So you have 4 kids?
4 kids.
Yeah. And your oldest is 10?
Yeah. Well, almost 10. So they all have birthdays in like the next, end of summer. So it'll end up being 10-8-6-4. 10-8-6-4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're like boom, 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 boom. No more.
Right. Okay. You done?
Done. Dunsies.
I love it. So how are they doing? You're saying they're pretty athletic?
Yeah, I mean they are. They have fun, but I have a lot of rules. Like as far as like sports and stuff, like I'm their coaches. One time my daughter cried. I said, this is not terrible, but I go, because I don't know if she was embarrassed or something. I go, we will not cry for that. I go, if you get hurt, fine. I go, I don't care if you get the ball stolen. As long as you're trying your best, I don't care. Like, I'm not someone that push it. Like, my dad didn't push me. Like, if I wanted coaching, he'd coach me and he'd coach me hard, but it wasn't like he never said, hey, buddy, let's go work on your jump shot. It was, Dad, do you want to come play horse with me? Or Dad, do you want to do this? Dad, do you want to do that? Like, let's have a free throw contest. And that's how I am as a dad. I don't want my kids to be burnout. I want them to be kids, and I want them to love sports. I don't want my kids to be like, I mean, in the Omaha area, I know a lot of kids get burnt out. And like, I'm going to have a strict rule on like what they play. Traveling, if they even travel, I'm going to be in control of that. Sure. I'm not letting, because there's so many other people that they want their kids to play 80 freaking games. Like that's not my kids. I want my kids to love the sport. Mm-hmm. I want them to have fun. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying to get my kid a scholarship. They're going to get a scholarship if they're good enough.
Sure.
Like, and I think that's the thing. It's funny. You see all these parents spending so much money on this, that, and the other. And it's like, hey, in the last 10 years, You spent a scholarship hoping your kid's going to get a scholarship. Like, I don't need that. Like, I want my kids to be kids. I want them to go outside and play in the dirt. I want them to run around on the playground. If it comes to a time when they're in high school and they're really good and they get offered, awesome. But like, I'm not trying to build a professional athlete. I'm trying to let them be kids and realize that their life is not doesn't have to be about sports. Do they like sports? Yeah. But like, that's dad's drawn a hard line and saying you're gonna do sports, and guess what? You're gonna do multiple sports like by the time high school, or you're just gonna work when you're not playing. That was my dad's rule. He said, I don't care if you play sports. He goes, but you're gonna get a job if you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're gonna do something.
Yeah, you can do something. And it's like you can find your extracurricular activities. It's working at McDonald's, or it's playing basketball, soccer, and football.
Yep, that's exactly how I was raised.
So that's kind of how I roll. I know some people are like, yeah, but you don't know. And they were saying when I was in high school, you don't know. You have to pick one sport and just play. It's like, oh really? Like I played football back, and I don't know because I actually played in college. And weirdly, I actually played professionally. So I don't think it matters about picking one sport.
Right.
And I played at the highest class in Nebraska. So I think we can figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, man. Let them figure it out too. Like that's how my dad was and my mom was. They were like, look, we want you to be happy with whatever you do.
Exactly.
But, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's great that you say that too, is letting these kids be kids. Because God, man, it's unbelievable to see some of the way that some of these parents handle stuff. And it's like, I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but I see it. I'm like, I could never do that to my kid. I could never do that.
I'm
going to let them be humans and figure out what they want to do and have fun and skin their knees and
ride bikes and do scooters. And that's what I want my kids to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My nieces,
they can worry about stuff later.
Exactly. Be a kid.
Yeah.
Don't worry about don't turn it into a job. That killed me with basketball. Killed me. Because it ended up being to where my dad was like, hey, if you want to do this, you gotta go and take this many shots. I'm like, why? Because Jordan did?
Right.
I'm not Michael Jordan. I don't have to be. I look more like Dirk Nowitzki.
Right. A lot more like Dirk.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm like, look, I'm gonna figure it out. And then my mom kept telling him, you're going to make them hate it. You're going to make them hate it. I got brought into college. I almost went over to Sicily and played. But at that point,
it wasn't fun anymore, right?
No, it wasn't fun at all. It sucked.
Bro, and that's what was awesome about playing multiple sports each year or each season. Like, I'd get done with football and basketball came up and I was juiced for basketball. Like, I didn't even need to take much time off because I was so excited for basketball. When basketball got over, I was so excited. We play soccer in the spring in Nebraska. I was excited. I was like, all right, something new, but I'm still competing.
Yeah.
So then I never got burned out of football at all.
So that's great. Because it wasn't necessarily a job for you. And then it turned into a great career.
For sure.
You didn't hate it.
I didn't at all. And I loved it. And hopefully by what my play showed, hopefully people saw enthusiasm and the love for the game, because I did. And I until I really feel like God took the love away for me, like I loved playing football. I still love the game. It's one of my favorite things in the world, but I just don't have the love to play it anymore.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, happened with me with basketball. Hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'll be letting you go here in just a minute. I know you've got stuff to do. I know being a pops, you got stuff to do.
I'm taking the two littles to dance. So dad's going to be a dance dad today.
I love it. I love it. Ballet?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, ballet.
That's fantastic, man. I love it. So my cohort with the Pace League that you'll be joining here soon, which very excited to have you. I let him know, and he's like, "Are you serious?" He wanted to know, being as you were undrafted, do you have a favorite undrafted player from this class?
From
anybody that's
class
gone undrafted that you think is that would
no,
be...
it's no, I don't. I just that usually will be Well, preseason's a little different because I think they're adding a game, but that's when I'll start to kind of notice people. Just because it's harder to know. It's not usually the bigger name guys. So that's when I'll know a little bit more. But there's always at least one or two that are running backs too, and that's kind of just what I pay attention to.
Yeah, I got you. I kind of wait until I see them in play. But I think what he normally means is like if you were paying attention to anybody in college that you think should have been drafted or something like that, who might not have been, but might pick up. But I get that. Yeah, that's kind of a hard question to answer. Thanks a lot, Justin, idiot. So
yeah, moron. I don't like him anymore. No, just kidding.
No, man. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
By the way, that pace league, I'm out. I'm out.
Thanks a lot, pal. Yeah, man. I noticed that what you were talking about, how you definitely had a love for the game. I've spoken with so many people about how I cannot wait to have you on the show. Everybody asks, they were like, well, how have you gotten people on your show? I'm like, I bother the hell out of them.
I just annoy them.
Yeah. Until they say, God, okay, I'm just going to do it just so he'll leave me alone. Or no, you've been completely cordial, very kind, always, you always answer me. I can't tell you how much that means to a guy who's trying to do something with this.
Well, thanks, man. I try not to be a jerk. I try not to.
You're being a jerk, man.
And I'm very honest too. Like if I didn't want to do it, I would have just said, hey man, I'm pretty busy right now. Cause I am I have a busy life with kids and whatever, but I just be honest. Like, I think I'm going to pass. So in the future, because obviously we're going to be in touch because of the fantasy football.
Yeah.
There's going to be times you hear me say no to stuff because I think life's a lot easier if you just know where you stand.
Yeah.
But it might, like when you said the pace league, I would have just said, no, I have no interest in it, but I do. So I think it'll be fun.
I love it. Yeah, we love that you're going to be. It's going to be a blast, man. It's going to be a blast. I'll let you know the dates exactly when the draft is. If you want to join the Zoom deal, you can. Yep. You don't have to be on it the whole time. We're going to figure out everything here within the next day or two. I'll let you know if you have a foundation you want to back. Please do. And everybody's going to be donating. There's going to be donations and stuff going over to this website that we created that are strictly for the Pace League. So whomever wins, their foundation gets that amount. And plus, of course, at the end of the season, we're going to do donations and stuff, auctions,
for sure,
stuff like that. So we really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you, Mr. Woodhead. Thank you again so much for being on the show. You've been plugged in with Jay. I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro.